We've got a tragic story of terrorism that we've got to report to you guys, and it's not good news. Let me show you the guy who did it, El-Sheikh Jilani. He is the Imam of Muslims of America, and boy, what they were planning. Now, luckily, they didn't get to have this actually happen because the cops caught him, so thank God they didn't get to execute their plans. This was going to happen in a small town in New York. Here's what he said. Our small group will soon be faced with the fight of our lives. We will offer those lives as collateral to prove our commitment to our God. We shall be warriors who will inflict horrible numbers of casualties upon the enemies of our nation and world peace. Wow, they're even against world peace. Now let me show you one of the victims here. His name is Robert Doggart. This is the guy that they were going to target, and it just breaks our heart to see a good guy out of Tennessee. And he even ran for congressional office. So let me tell you more that they were going to do to him because it's really horrible. They said, when we meet with this state, okay, the people that we will seek will know who we are. We will be cruel to them, and we will burn down their buildings. Wow, Jesus. Now, they talked about how to execute this operation. They said the operation in mind requires about 20 expert gunners. Target 3 is vulnerable from many approaches. So this is they've planned this out and must be utterly destroyed in order to get the attention of the American people. This looks like a jihad of the worst sort, right? Now, finally, it's about to get more graphic. They also said, if it gets down to the machete, we will cut them to shreds. Now, that's weird, right? Because we haven't heard a lot about this in the national news, this kind of terrorist strike against a good, upstanding citizen. You would think that this would be news 24/7, right? Oh, right, I got one little thing wrong in the story. It turns out the terrorist was Robert Doggart, and the victim was El-Sheikh Jilani. So that's the guy who ran for office in Tennessee against Desjardins, ran for Congress, and he planned to victimize the Muslims of America in New York, who is partly led by this guy. So that was the victim you're looking at. Isn't that amazing? Let me give you more details what they plan to do against this Muslim community in upstate New York. Court documents showed Doggart discussed employing a variety of weapons in the attack, including M4 military-style rifles, pistols, Molotov cocktails, explosives, and the aforementioned machete. So they had planned to go in there with snipers, kill people, burn down the buildings. They said, if we got to kill the civilians, well, we got to kill the civilians because they were, according to their own words, literally against world peace. Yet, crickets from the national media. Nothing, almost unheard. This amazing story of a Republican politician who ran for office recently who planned to massacre this community in New York.
Well, Cenk, you're forgetting a very important fact. White conservative people cannot be terrorists by definition.
I knew I was forgetting something.
No, but this is actually a really serious and a really important point to make, because I know just from doing my show that over the past year, maybe 2 years, I've covered maybe 3 or 4 different right-wing terrorist attacks or attempted terrorist attacks that got absolutely no coverage whatsoever in the mainstream media. In fact, let me ask the audience here real fast. How many of you guys have heard of a group called Sovereign Citizens? Okay, maybe 10% of the audience, but I'm stretching there, probably less than that.
No, it's a good Young Turks audience. That was a quarter. I'm going to give you a quarter.
Well, Sovereign Citizens are one of the biggest terrorist groups in the United States of America. Now, that's not my opinion, that's actually a fact. There was a 2009 Department of Homeland Security study which found that, and it was commissioned under the Bush administration, so there's no liberal bias here, and they found that 56% of terrorist attacks in America are from right-wing groups, one of the leading ones being Sovereign Citizens, not to mention neo-Nazis, not to mention KKK, not to mention any other groups. So the problem is the media has a set narrative that they run with, and if anything deviates from that narrative, they just don't cover it. And the narrative is Muslims are terrorists because the Muslims are always the terrorists, and the conservative people are not terrorists because they can never be terrorists. So this is why you get this skewed perception of the American people where a lot of them genuinely believe, no, it's only Muslims are terrorists. It's only Muslims because that's all I see, because that's all CNN shows me.
And to just take it one step further, it's that when they see this, they're not bad people. So like, I mean, at Fox News, they're bad people, right? but at CNN, there isn't a room full of producers that
it's
go,
not a conspiracy.
yeah, they go, oh, let's go get the Muslims, right? And they don't see the Doggart story and think like, oh, let's cover that up. Let's not bother white folks, right? I think that what they've internalized.
That's right. It's
and
a subconscious bias is what
that's
it is.
right. And so what winds up happening is they think, oh, that's a lone wolf. That's just one crazy guy. It's not a national story.
Right.
It's just a crazy guy in Tennessee who, by the way, was conspiring with dozens of other people, right? And he's now accepted a plea agreement, so he's convicted, and so he's guilty, and there's conversations with him on other, did they go and get the conspiracy? And think about that too. Imagine that a Muslim guy had planned to kill an entire town in Hancock, New York.
Oh, Fox News would have an orgy.
And conspired with many other people, right? And they'd be like, where are the authorities? Where's the Justice Department? Why haven't they arrested every single person involved in that conspiracy? Why haven't they tapped their phones? Why haven't they gone after them? My God, Obama's not doing anything. It's all Obama's fault. But the guy at CNN sees this, goes, oh, lone wolf. The next time he sees a Muslim attack, goes, there's the Muslims again. Let's talk. This is a national issue. This is a national issue. Let's all talk about it, right? So now, okay, but at this point, you're all thinking, well, at least this guy got convicted, right? He took the plea deal, and so, boy, they threw the book at him. So let me read you from Talking Points memo. He ultimately signed an agreement under which he would enter a guilty plea to a single charge of interstate communication of a threat and was released from custody on $30,000 bond. That guy is out in the streets right now. Now, he's sentencing is coming up, and he could face up to 5 years and a $250,000 fine. Okay, he's out. Can you imagine? A Muslim says, I'm going to kill a whole town with my machete because of my God. Those are the literal quotes from Doggart, right? And they say, oh, all right, well, you're free to go, but make sure you show up at trial. Right? So the hypocrisy is overwhelming. I mean, I've got literally 60 cases here. I don't want to take up too much time, so I'll just give you the case of Iman Ferris, right? And there are worse tragedies and injustices, and I don't give a damn about him, and he's a bad guy. But to give you context, right? This idiot thought he was going to take down the Brooklyn Bridge with a blowtorch, okay? Literally, that was his plan, blowtorch, okay? He's going to get out there really early in the morning, though, okay? He called off the attack, okay? Because I don't know, maybe he realized it was a really dumb idea, right? We knew he called off the attack. He got 20 years, okay? 20 years. This guy is talking about snipers, has strategic planning on how they're going to attack the town and how they might have to machete the civilians. He's out on bond. Now you tell me that there is no hypocrisy, there's no double standard, and that in America everybody gets treated equally no matter what their race, religion, or background is. It's just not the case. I want it to be the case. I want to help the country get there, and that's why we have this conversation. But right now, we ain't there.